This is a 2025 Toyota Crown Signia Limited, a new for 2025 hybrid only crossover SUV version of the new for 2023 Crown flagship sedan. Except it's less than 4 inches taller than that sedan, only has 6.7 inches of ground clearance, and the government classifies it as a station wagon. But we do get all-wheel drive as standard equipment and plenty of cargo room, so it ticks enough boxes for most buyers. There are 2 trims of Crown Signia, the XLE and this limited trim, making this one the top of the line. And to be honest, so far, what this feels like is a luxury Toyota Camry wagon. But that's besides the point. The question is, does this Crown Signia feel like a crossover SUV? And critically, how does it feel to drive? Let's find out. I review all kinds of cars and I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price of a 2025 Toyota Crown Signia XLE is $45,040. Going with the limited trim raises that price to $49,440. And my test car did include a couple of options and a few accessories and cost $53,249. All right, with that, now is a good time for me to pull over and show you around and inside this new Crown Signia. Looking at the front of the car, to be honest, to me it looks a little bit more Toyota Camry than Toyota Crown, but I would consider that a compliment. I really like the way that Toyota redesigned the new for 2025 Toyota Camry, and I think that this has just a really similar look. You've got these long, thin beam daytime running lights right here, and then main beams down low. Oh, and speaking of all these lights, all the lights on the Crown Signia are LED. All right, there's only one powertrain for the Crown Signia. Let's take a look underneath the hood. And there it is, your 240 horsepower, total system horsepower, 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder hybrid engine. It is transversely mounted or side to side like that. And you have the 2.5 liter engine right here, and then a bunch of hybrid componentry, and beneath that, the hybrid transaxle. The front axle center line comes up around here towards the back. I see this metal bracket right here, so towards the back of this big orange harness right here, and that means much of the engine is ahead of the front axle center line, and that means much of the transaxle is ahead of the front center line. This is a heavily front biased machine, but we do have a fairly long wheelbase. We do have all-wheel drive, and we do have the hatch in back, so that does help rebalance things a little bit, but still not great. And finally, windshield washer fluid is on the passenger side up front, really easy to get to right here. Looking at the car in profile, this is giving you a chance to get a good look at the finish line red paint that you see here. It is a $425 optional color. It is one of 3 colors that are an optional extra out of 5 colors in total. But I have to say, one of the standard colors, called Storm Cloud, to me looks pretty good. It's like a gray blue. I like that a lot. But I do also like this finish line red. I think it gives the Crown Signia a bit of pop, if you will. This being the limited means that it can have the advanced technology package, which is a $1,865 package that mostly includes advanced driving aids, but it does also include a puddle lamp built into the side view mirror, and obviously you can't see it well during the day. Let me show you what it looks like in the dark. I will go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen for you to check out, and just for fun, because we've talked about it, I will add the ground clearance as well and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. The base wheel on a Toyota Crown Signia XLE is a 19-inch wheel, but the limiteds come with these 21-inch wheels, And as you can see, does not leave a ton of sidewall left. This is a very aggressive, sporty wheel, and indeed a wheel and tire setup. So yeah, this is a bit on the aggressive side for a vehicle like this. I think in a lot of ways I would prefer the 19, but especially with this finish line red, I think this is a real nice contrast to it and really makes the vehicle look nice. And yes, this is a Toyota crossover SUV. The wheels and tires in back are the same size as the wheels in front. Looking at the Signia from the rear, first thing I notice is these sharp looking taillights that go straight across the full width of the car. That is a nice element, and definitely following the trends of today, full width taillights is becoming a thing. And we actually have dual exhaust tips, but they are tucked down low, out of the way, just as they should be. No problem at all. All right, let's check out cargo space. You are looking at 25 cubic feet of cargo space behind the second row. We also have this nice privacy panel right here, and this is the cargo mat, which is part of the floor mats and cargo mat that are a $319 accessory for the Crown Signia. And beneath that we do have a tiny touch of space right here, right in front of the bumper. Beneath that we do have a tow hook and a little bit more storage space. I do not see a spare tire of any kind. Yep, this right here is an inflation kit. And if you need more than 25 cubic feet of cargo space, that is easy enough to do. Pull a couple levers, give a little extra encouragement, and you have 66 cubic feet of cargo space and room for you and a passenger. And I would say plenty of room for my bike, but let's find out. Oh yeah, pretty darn easy in fact. Plenty wide, tall enough, slides right in. Plenty of room for my bike. Let's check out the inside. This being just a two-row SUV, we do have what looks like a healthy amount of legroom down here, and it is reasonably wide as well. And we do have this nice brown real leather interior right here. Leather is standard on the Crown Signia. We also have standard heated rear seats for the two outbound passengers here. By the way, the limited trim gets an 11-speaker JBL sound system. I am 5 feet 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and as you can see, I've got several inches of knee room right here. Seat bottoms are pretty high, not perfect, but pretty high, so I have decent thigh support. And I do have some headroom, not by a lot, but some. I would have more if it weren't for this panoramic roof. This panoramic roof, by the way, is part of being a limited trim. Put all of that together, I also have less than a 90-degree bend in my knees. We do also have two USB Type-C ports. In the back, we have 5 in the car in total. And we do also have an armrest with cup holders. So yeah, it's perfectly comfortable back here. I think 4 adults would do just fine in a road trip. All right, let's go to the front. More of the same in terms of the two-tone color on the door. We do have the typical controls right here, as well as 2-position seat memory right there. These are 8-way power adjusting seats, including lumbar support, which I always appreciate. We do have a couple of buttons to the left of the steering wheel and some more stuff a little bit higher. You can also adjust the steering, both tilt and telescope, manually with this guy right there. There are the floor mats portion of the floor and cargo mats that we got as an accessory, and these are $345 illuminated door sills that are hard to see in the daylight, but here, let me show you at night. The steering wheel itself is a fatter than I expected rim. It's a nice thick rim, a reasonable size diameter, nice design, and good support for grip. We do also have several cruise control options on the right, media control options on the left. We do also have paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. Push button start is right here. And there is your fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster. That is standard on the Crown Signia. And there is your 12.3-inch center display, which is also standard on the Crown Signia, and it includes wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. Beneath your center display is your dual zone climate control system, and that also includes heated and ventilated front seats for both the driver and passenger. That is standard equipment on the Crown Signia, as is the heated steering wheel. Beneath that is your wireless smartphone charger right there. Below that is our button for the 360-degree view cameras. Next to that, we have two more USB Type-C ports and two pretty darn big and healthy and deep cup holders right there. There is our Prindle. And you can see it's got a little graphic to show you how it moves here. Over and down to drive, and then from there, straight down to get into sport mode for the transmission. We'll have to play with that. Below that is our drive mode selector. I'll get to that in just a moment. We have an EV mode. If you're going low speed for a little bit of time, you can drive as an EV in the Crown Signia. Lower center console storage is right here, and there is a fifth USB port right there, as well as a cigarette plug style 12-volt port right next to it. We also have a $375 dealer accessory dash cam. We also have noise canceling acoustic front windshield and front side door glass. So that helps keep the Crown Signia quiet, and that is all standard. Standard on the Limited is our digital rear view mirror, so it doubles as a screen for a camera back there. Also standard on the Limited is the panoramic glass, which does have this electric privacy panel, which is lovely. All right, let's talk drive modes. We have four. They are Eco, Normal, Sport, and Custom. We will definitely play with the Sport driving mode. We'll touch on Eco as well, but we will spend most of our time in the normal driving mode. But to do that, we got to get back to the drive. So let's get back to the drive. All right, let's dig into the powertrain. As I showed you under the hood, all Crown Signias include the same 2.5-liter 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain. You get a grand total of 240 horsepower, and that comes courtesy of that 2.5-liter engine and a total of 3 electric motors. 2 of those 3 motors are housed within the transaxle up front. One is there to generate electricity, the generator motor, and the other one is to help with drive, the drive motor. The third electric motor hangs out on the rear axle and is what provides all-wheel drive for this Crown Signia. It is a drive shaft-free all-wheel drive system. You don't get a ton of horsepower for the rear axle, 54 horsepower and 89 pound-feet of torque, but it's definitely enough to help out. The drive motor up front with the transaxle is much more powerful. On its own, it can make 180 horsepower and 199 pound-feet of torque. Toyota doesn't say the total peak torque number. I'd imagine it's well into the 2s, maybe the 3s, but we know for certain it's at least 199 pound-feet. The internal combustion engine wins on horsepower. It makes 188 horsepower and does so at 6,000 RPM, but comes second when it comes to torque, 178 pound-feet. It does so between 4,300 and 4,500 RPM. The engine is quite efficient with a 14-to-1 compression ratio, except that it's the Atkinson cycle, so it's actually a 14-to-1 expansion ratio and a slightly lower compression ratio. The engine also gets a direct fuel injection system, and that injection system will happily take regular gasoline. As I mentioned, the transmission is an electronic, continually variable transmission. There are no actual gears there, but we do have paddle shifters, and the paddle shifters do increase the engine speed for the given vehicle speed, and they do function to give you a little bit more power delivery. And considering everything, it's not bad. Currently in the normal driving mode, if I floor the accelerator, you know, there's no kick down, but the chance for the engine to transition to higher speeds and get the vehicle moving is pretty quick considering everything. It's not bad. The fact that we've got a healthy amount of power from the electric motor up front definitely helps, because it has the battery pack to help and you get immediate response. It is a nickel metal hydride battery pack, by the way, and that's just in the normal driving mode. Switch it to sport, floor the accelerator again. Yeah, and the more aggressive throttle and the more encouragement from the computer, the transaxle does operate even faster. And I have to say, the response is actually above average, and you can speed it up further. In D, you can move to S. So I'm now in S, the sportier transmission setting, to go with a sport driving mode. Floor the accelerator. Yeah. And the engine gets that nice high power peak right away and just holds you there, and you actually get pretty darn good pull. That is impressive pull. That is better than I expected from this 240 horsepower net that we get from the Toyota hybrid system. All combined, it works pretty well and does give me a little bit more evidence that we've got a healthy amount of torque to work with. And considering all that, I think these paddle shifters are ultimately, well, useless, to be honest. But for those that like the idea of having them and want a little bit extra control of the engine speed for the vehicle speed, it's good to know that they're there. Of course, this being part of the Toyota hybrid system, you do get pretty darn good fuel economy. You get 39 miles per gallon in the city, 37 miles per gallon on the highway, 38 combined. For a vehicle of this size with all-wheel drive to be in the high 30s like that, pretty darn commendable. And to go with the crossover SUV chops, a little bit of credibility, you can tow with the Crown Signia, though not very much. According to Toyota, the Signia can tow up to 2,700 pounds. Usually we're at least at 3,500 pounds for something this size, and a lot of things get closer to 5,000 pounds. Of course, while fuel economy is very important, it's not nearly as much fun as accelerating, and as you saw, this thing is actually pretty decent at it. Of course, I had to test how well it accelerates. Let me show you that right now. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. See how quickly 240 horsepower works in this 2025 Toyota Crown Insignia. I do have it in the sport driving mode. I do have it in S on the transmission, and I do have traction control off, though I'm not expecting much of any wheel slip, but let's find out. Okay, coming to a complete stop. Floor the accelerator. Oh, wheel slip, how about that? Engine comes on pretty fast, getting up to engine speed, high engine speed, and just holding it, and yeah, not bad. Really, oh, actually, wow. The pull continues at higher speeds. I was surprised at that. So the initial launch was okay, not bad. Pretty good for a Toyota hybrid system car. And then the engine kicked on, the engine got up to revs, and then the pull just kind of kept going. This is a electronic continuously variable transmission, so no shifts of any kind, but good, solid, consistent, and smooth pull throughout. Toyota says that the Crown Insignia can go from 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds. Healthy acceleration from this Toyota Crown Signia. All right, let's dig into the chassis. The Crown Signia is built from the TNGA-K platform, the exact same platform as the Crown sedan, no surprise there. And it does have a four-wheel independent suspension with struts up front and a multi-link setup in back. No surprise there either. A little bit of a surprise is how much this leans on the ride end of the ride handling spectrum. Toyota of late has been a lot better about balancing ride and handling, and even pleasantly surprised me a couple times with the handling prowess of the Camry, for example. But the Crown definitely goes right back to the ride side of things. This has a fair amount of body roll. Not much feel at all, light steering, just kind of a floaty, soft machine. Now, you can put it in the sport driving mode, and that firms up the steering a little bit and speeds up the throttle, those types of things, but it's still not sporty by any nature. The benefit of that is it is a plenty cushy ride. It wafts over bumps and lumps in the road with zero trouble at all, and even those sharp expansion joints and those types of cracks in the road, potholes, that type of thing, are absorbed with no problem at all. So for the comfort side of you, it's nice. For the engagement side, it's a bit underwhelming. When it comes to cruising, the Crown Signia is perfectly pleasant. And that's true on roads like this and on the interstate. I did test it there as well. Let me show you that. All right, everybody, time for a quick stint on the interstate, see how this new Crown Signia feels. But first, I wanted to show you a few of the controls here. We do have Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. We also have the advanced technology package, which does give us quite a few driving aids to play with. But there's also some controls on the instrument cluster and on the steering wheel that I think are worth checking out. Cruise control buttons are right here. This one turns on and off the lane keeping steering assistance stuff. So if you look right here, you can see those indicators are on. If I press this button, that stuff goes off. Also, we have cruise control mode. You can choose between adaptive and standard cruise control. I think that's a really nice feature. I'm really happy Toyota offers that. We will try the adaptive cruise control for this test. The rest of these controls are probably self-explanatory. Cruise control on-off is right there. Speed up, slow down, cancel. It's all right there. Now, for the instrument cluster, we have this toggle right here. You actually can change a few things here. So if I scroll going side to side like that, I can choose between here, this screen, which in of itself gives you a lot of different options. So if I press and hold the OK button, I can then move and change these different things. I can move it over and change these different things. And I can move over and change these different things. And you can see that each category has several different choices. So you can choose among a myriad of different things and really customize this screen to look like what you want. There's also a third screen option right here. But for this test, we will go to this one because it does highlight the driving aid assistance screen and those types of things. All right, let's get on the road and check it out. All right, getting onto the interstate now. As I mentioned, we do have Toyota Safety Sense 3.0. That includes several standard driving aids. I'll put those up on the screen right now. And the advanced technology package offers these additional driving aids. Those are on the screen now for you to check out. The one I'm most interested in playing with is the automatic lane change assist, see how that works. But we're also going to see how this car feels on the road in general. Okay, cruise control is set at 78 miles an hour to go with traffic. I do have all the assistance things on, and I am going to try right off the bat to do an automatic lane change. You do not do a full depress, you just press it down halfway, and let's see if it works. Checking surroundings, and there it goes. It did the lane change for me. How about that? That's a pretty clever little setup. You'll get indicator down in the center screen there that it's going to do it, and then it makes the turn for you and everything. After that, it checks that everything is clear. Also, we are in the middle of a curve right now, so my hands are off the wheel. And we caught it at the end, but sure enough, lane tracing assist works really well in the Crown Insignia. Keeps us nice and centered in the lane as it goes around a corner. It's a really nice system. More fundamentally, this is a pretty well isolated cabin. I am enjoying the laminated windshield and front side windows to help keep out some of the noise. It is a windy day today, and even with that, it is staying pretty quiet in here. Road noise is a little bit loud. This is definitely beneath the premium category of vehicles, but it's certainly manageable, and the seats are comfortable, and all the center display components and all that are easy to use. Plus, the fact that this comes standard with heated and ventilated seats and a heated steering wheel and all those things is nice. And since we do have this assistance screen, let me go ahead and show you what it looks like. As you can see, we have no traffic immediately ahead of us. We're kind of in this little pocket at the moment, so nothing's showing up, but the green lines on either side shows that it's going to keep us in the lane. And now we are getting close enough to a car that it does pop up. Also, this Toyota hybrid system works really well, runs quietly. The electronic continuously variable transmission operates smoothly. You can hear the engine, but it is pretty much in the background. Generally speaking, this is a perfectly pleasant highway cruiser. The combination of efficiency and the comforts, it's pretty good. So, what do I think of the 2025 Crown Signia? First of all, is it a crossover? Yeah, it's a crossover. It's a low crossover. It's a very on-road friendly crossover. It's a very keep it light for off-roading crossover, but it's a crossover. You do have all-wheel drive, you do have a lot of cargo space, and you do have the basic shape of what a crossover is these days. I think the utility part of it would absolutely sell it as a crossover. It is a healthy amount of space behind the first row. It's still a pretty darn good amount of space behind the second row. It's a wide enough vehicle to make it easy to load as well. Now, when it comes to driving it, this kind of reminds me of yesteryear Toyota a little bit. And I mean that in the sense of just how soft the Crown Signia is. Obviously, there's a lot of benefits to that. It is a nice ride and it's comfortable in a lot of situations. It's reasonably quiet too, though not quite premium car quiet like I kind of thought it might be. But when it comes to the engagement side of things, it's a little bit underwhelming. In fact, the Crown Sedan delivered there somewhat, at least, especially if you went with the Platinum model with the Hybrid Max powertrain. You got a lot of power and you got a more engaging chassis. Not a lot, but more than this. So the Crown Signia definitely isn't for enthusiasts. But if you just want to get comfortable, keep things calm and keep things quiet, and have a lot of space to use, the Crown Signia offers a lot. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you very much for watching.